Welcome to today's Explainer. We are bringing some serious energy today because we're looking at something absolutely fundamental to every single one of us, the true nature of leadership, influence, and how we actually draw people toward us. I mean, if you've ever wondered why some leaders seem effortlessly magnetic while others just look like they're trying way too hard, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to deconstruct the mechanics of influence by looking at some fascinating source material that brings together two seemingly opposite worldviews. Okay, let's dive right into this dialectic tension sitting at the very center of our source text. First up, consider Robert Greene. He's famously known for teaching the psychology of seduction, right? And his approach is all about penetrating hearts and minds, casting spells, and essentially treating life as theater to influence your audience. But contrasting him is the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius. His philosophy is literally the complete opposite. It's all about unapologetic authenticity. Aurelius insists that no matter what anyone else does, you just do your job. You show your true colors completely independent of an audience. So one is about actively trying to influence people, and the other is about simply being something, regardless of whether it influences anyone at all. So, looking at these two completely different approaches, we have to ask, are these opposite philosophies? How on earth could a master manipulator and an austere Stoic emperor possibly agree on the mechanics of influence? Well, if we read this source material closely, it turns out that Greene actually agrees with Marcus Aurelius way more than it first appears. And that hidden agreement? That's exactly what we are going to unpack today.
Part 1. The Problem of Calculated Coldness.
To really understand this connection, we first need to look at why purely calculated influence ultimately fails in the real world. And here is the tell, straight from Robert Greene's own text. Even the master of calculated seduction admits that fake tactics totally repel people. He says if you're someone that does too much calculation in the seduction process, it's not seductive. People can smell your coldness. The technique has to disappear. What actually works, according to Greene, is bringing out natural qualities that you already possess. Think about a sports team. Players can instantly smell a borrowed, calculated motivational speech. A coach just reading off a script to manipulate emotions, it doesn't work. What actually moves a team is someone showing up with genuine integrity. Marcus Aurelius used this absolutely brilliant metaphor of a gemstone to describe this kind of unshakable character. Think about it. An emerald doesn't calculate how to look green. It simply is green, consistently, regardless of the light it's placed in. This is exactly what Greene means when he talks about technique disappearing into something natural. True magnetism is just authenticity under pressure. So Greene is circling the exact same idea of consistent character as Aurelius. He's just approaching it from the audience's side, what draws people in, while Aurelius is approaching it from the actor's side, what you owe to yourself to be. Part 2, a theory of the team. Now let's pivot for a second and see how this concept of individual coherence maps directly onto an organizational structure. Because, hey, this isn't just about individual magnetism, it scales to entire groups. Management legend Peter Drucker argued that enduring organizations run on three clear assumptions: environment, mission, and core competencies. Our source text brilliantly maps this right onto a team environment. You have to ask yourselves, what is this team actually for? Is it for winning or developing character? And what does a meaningful result look like? Is it a championship title or is it growth that outlasts the season? And where must we excel to lead? Conditioning? Togetherness? The text points out that teams without clear answers to these three questions don't fail loudly. They just stagnate quietly. They drift in a crisis they can't quite name. Just like a person needs inner coherence to be magnetic, a team needs theoretical clarity to have a coherent presence. People aren't drawn to a costume. They are drawn to something whole. Part 3. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. So the obvious question becomes, how is that wholeness actually built? How do we become the emerald? Well, this isn't about some sudden magical transformation. It's about a daily grind. The daily Stoic entry in our text brings up a really vital concept, arete. It's the Greek word for excellence, moral, physical, and spiritual, all at once. And as the philosopher Epictetus notes, capability grows through its corresponding actions. Walking by walking, running by running. You don't become a magnetic leader through one massive, heroic effort. You achieve it by lowering the bar for any single day's expectations, gathering the low-hanging fruit, focusing on just getting 1% better, while simultaneously raising the bar for daily consistency. A 1% improvement, compounded daily, is arete. It's doing the harder thing to make the easier thing easier. Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? The Stoics didn't just hope to be excellent, they engineered it through a sort of training montage of discomfort. Cato deliberately dressed against convention. Seneca actively practiced poverty. Marcus Aurelius rehearsed being misunderstood. They deliberately built discomfort into their days. Why? The purpose definitely wasn't suffering for suffering's sake. It was deliberate rehearsal. They were training so that discomfort stopped being a threat and became simply familiar terrain. And this discomfort tolerance yields profound results. Because you've rehearsed discomfort, you can finally say a polite, firm no thank you without needing to soften the truth just to please everyone. You embody the wisdom of the Buddha, conquering yourself before winning 1,000 battles. You channel Socrates, moving yourself before moving the world. You even capture the modern wisdom of actress Catherine O'Hara, treating yourself with respect before you've even earned it. Rehearsing discomfort breeds ultimate self-respect because the leader no longer has to negotiate with their own nervous system in real time. When the crisis hits, you don't have to perform strength, you just have it.
Part 4. The power of quiet minds.
This brings us to the core psychological state that all this stoic rehearsal, daily compounding, and business clarity ultimately produces. It's the ultimate goal of all this internal work. To the quiet mind, all things are possible. This quote from the 14th century mystic Meister Eckhart is literally the hinge of today's explainer. So the absolute crucial point here is that everything we've discussed, the habit-built excellence, the rehearsed discomfort, the self-possession, has one singular destination. It produces a mind that is quiet, a mind that isn't scrambling, a mind that isn't calculating its next move the way Green's cold, unsuccessful seducer does. A quiet mind perceives what is actually true and acts from that truth, without any internal friction. The philosopher Lichtenberg described wisdom's arc beautifully. He said the first step is questioning everything, and the last step is coming to terms with everything. And this traces the exact journey of our source text today. We started by questioning Green's cynical seduction, but we ended up finding, underneath all that cynicism, the exact same demand Marcus Aurelius makes, to be a whole, consistent, undivided person. Coming to terms with the fact that true magnetism is just the natural byproduct of your own integrity.
Part 5. Leading with genuine love.
But there's one final piece. A solitary stoic philosophy is great for the individual, for sure. But how does this evolve so you can actually lead others effectively without becoming cold and distant yourself? Our text introduces this incredibly vivid metaphor from the writer Larry McMurtry, The Boneyard. He wrote that the plains are pretty in sunlight, but we all end up in the same boneyard as our mule driver. This stark reminder of our shared mortality shifts everything. It grounds us. Because if we are all heading to the exact same boneyard, how on earth can we justify treating people as pawns in some theatrical game of seduction today?
And this right here resolves the opening paradox of our explainer. Green's seducer sees people merely as an audience to move. But Marcus Aurelius, an austere scholar forced into the ultimate power of becoming an emperor, discovered something so much deeper. He realized that real influence over people isn't spellcasting. It requires an intentional, muscle-like capacity for love. True magnetism means deploying patience, fairness, and empathy. It's a leader who has done the deep interior work to quiet their mind and then chooses, on top of all of it, to genuinely care what happens to the people they lead today in the sunlight.
I want to leave you with this powerful 10-word coaching motto from the source material: calm body, quiet mind, play hard, play smart, play together. It's the absolute perfect synthesis of everything we've explored. The quiet mind isn't enough on its own. It has to be paired with playing hard and playing together with empathy. So here's my challenge for you today. Are you calculating your interactions like a cold seducer? Or are you doing the daily, uncomfortable inner work to simply be the emerald? Build the habits, quiet the mind, and choose to lead with genuine love. Because that is where true magnetism lives. Thanks so much for learning with us today on The Explainer, and we'll see you next time.